Formation of the contract of sale. Sale of goods is one of the specific forms of contracts recognized and regulated by law in India. Sale is a typical bargain between the buyer and the seller. The Sale of Goods Act, 1930 allows the parties to modify the provisions of the law by expressed stipulations. However, in some places this freedom is severely restricted. Sale of Goods Act, 1930 is the act to den and amend the law relating to the sale of goods. It extends to the whole of India except the state of Jammu and Kashmir. It came into force on 1 July 1930. Definitions. Buyer and seller. Buyer means a person who buys or agrees to buy goods. Seller means a person who sells or agrees to sell goods. The two terms, buyer and seller, are complementary and represent the two parties to a contract of sale of goods. Not only the person who buys but also the one who agrees to buy is a buyer. Similarly, a seller means not only a person who sells but also a person who agrees to sell. Goods. Goods means every kind of movable property other than actionable claims and money, and includes stock and shares, growing crops, grass, and things attached to or forming part of the land, which are agreed to be severed before sale or under the contract of sale. Actionable claims. Actionable claims are claims which can be enforced only by an action or suit, example debt. A debt is not a movable property or goods. Even the fixed deposit receipts are considered as goods under Section 176 of the Indian Contract Act. Read with Section 2 subsection 7 of the Sales of Goods Act. Definitions. Existing goods. Existing goods are such goods as are in existence at the time of the contract of sale, that is those owned or possessed by the seller at the time of contract of sale. Specific goods. Specific goods means goods identified and agreed upon at the time a contract of sale is made. Ascertained goods. Ascertained goods are those goods which are identified in accordance with the agreement after the contract of sale is made. When from a lot or out of large quantity of unascertained goods, the number or quantity contracted for is identified, such identified goods are called ascertained goods. Unascertained goods. Unascertained goods are the goods which are not specifically identified or ascertained at the time of making of the contract. They are indicated or defined only by description or sample. Definitions. Future goods. Future goods means goods to be manufactured or produced or acquired by the seller after making the contract of sale. A contract for the sale of future goods is always an agreement to sell. It is never actual sale because a man cannot transfer what is not in existence. Contingent goods. The acquisition of which by the seller depends upon an uncertain contingency, uncertain event, are called contingent goods. Contingent goods also operate as an agreement to sell, and not a sale, so far as the question of passing of property to the buyer is concerned. Delivery, its forms and derivatives. Delivery means voluntary transfer of possession from one person to another. As a general rule, delivery of goods may be made by doing anything, which has the effect of putting the goods in the possession of the buyer, or any person authorized to hold them on his behalf. Actual delivery. When the goods are physically delivered to the buyer. Definitions. Constructive delivery, when it is effected without any change in the custody or actual possession of the thing, as in the case of delivery by atonement, acknowledgement. Symbolic delivery. When there is a delivery of a thing in token of a transfer of something else, that is, delivery of goods during transit may be made by handing over documents of title to goods, like bill of lading or railway receipt or delivery orders, or the key of a warehouse containing the goods is handed over to buyer. Document of title to goods. Document of title to goods includes bill of lading, dock warrant, warehouse keeper's certificate, wharfinger's certificate, railway receipt, multimodal transport document, warrant or order for the delivery of goods, and any other document used in the ordinary course of business as proof of the possession or control of goods. Mercantile agent. It means an agent having in the customary course of business as such agent authority either to sell goods or to consign goods for the purpose of sale, or to buy goods or to raise money on the security of the goods. Definitions. Property. Property here means ownership or general property. In every contract of sale, the ownership of goods must be transferred by the seller to the buyer, or there should be an agreement by the seller to transfer the ownership to the buyer. It means the general property and not merely a special property. Insolvent. A person is said to be insolvent when he ceases to pay his debts in the ordinary course of business, or cannot pay his debts as they become due, whether he has committed an act of insolvency or not. Price. Price means the money consideration for a sale of goods. Quality. Quality of goods includes their state or condition. Sale and agreement to sell. Contract of sale. A contract of sale of goods is a contract whereby the seller transfers or agrees to transfer the property in goods to the buyer for a price. There may be a contract of sale between one part owner and another. A contract of sale may be absolute or conditional. Agreement to sell. Where under a contract of sale the property in the goods is transferred from the seller to the buyer, the contract is called a sale, but where the transfer of the property in the goods is to take place at a future time or subject to some condition thereafter to be fulfilled, the contract is called an agreement to sell. Sale. In sale, the property in goods is transferred from seller to the buyer immediately. The term sale is defined as, where under a contract of sale the property in the goods is transferred from the seller to the buyer, the contract is called a sale. Agreement to sell becomes sale. An agreement to sell becomes a sale when the time elapses or the conditions are fulfilled subject to which the property in the goods is to be transferred. Sale distinguished from other similar contracts. Sale and hire purchase. Contract of sale resembles with contracts of hire purchase very closely, and indeed the real object of a contract of hire purchase is the sale of the goods ultimately. Term: hire purchase agreement means an agreement under which goods are let on hire and under which the hirer has an option to purchase them in accordance with the terms of the agreement. Sale and bailment. A bailment is the delivery of goods for some specific purpose under a contract on the condition that the same goods are to be returned to the bailer or are to be disposed of according to the directions of the bailer. Provisions related to bailment are regulated by the Indian Contract Act 1872. Sale and contract for work and labor. A contract of sale of goods is one in which some goods are sold or are to be sold for a price. But where no goods are sold, and there is only the doing or rendering of some work of labor, then the contract is only of work and labor and not of sale of goods. Contract of sale. How a contract of sale is made. A contract of sale is made by an offer to buy or sell goods for a price and the acceptance of such offer. The contract may provide for the immediate delivery of the goods or immediate payment of the price or both, or for the delivery or payment by installments, or that the delivery or payment or both shall be postponed. Modes of contract of sale is made. A contract of sale may be made by an offer to buy or sell goods for a price and acceptance of such offer, may be immediate delivery of the goods, or may be immediate payment of price but agreed to deliver at future date, may be immediate delivery of the goods and an immediate payment of price, or may be agreed that the delivery or payment or both are to be made in installments, or may be agreed that the delivery or payment or both are to be made at some future date. Subject matter of contract of sale. Existing or future goods. The goods which form the subject of a contract of sale may be either existing goods, owned or possessed by the seller, or future goods. There may be a contract for the sale of goods, the acquisition of which by the seller depends upon a contingency which may or may not happen. Goods perishing before making of contract. Where there is a contract for the sale of specific goods, the contract is void if the goods without the knowledge of the seller have, at the time when the contract was made, perished or become so damaged as no longer to answer to their description contract. Goods perishing before sale but after agreement to sell. Where there is an agreement to sell specific goods, and subsequently the goods without any fault on the part of the seller or buyer perish or become so damaged as no longer to answer to their description in the agreement before the risk passes to the buyer, the agreement is thereby avoided. Ascertainment of price. Ascertainment of price. The price in a contract of sale may be fixed by the contract or may be left to be fixed in manner thereby agreed or may be determined by the course of dealing between the parties. Where the price is not determined, the buyer shall pay the seller a reasonable price. Analysis. Price means the monetary consideration for sale of goods. By virtue of Section 9, the price in the contract of sale may be fixed by the contract, or agreed to be fixed in a manner provided by the contract, or determined by the course of dealings between the parties. Agreement to sell at valuation. Where there is an agreement to sell goods on the terms that the price is to be fixed by the valuation of third party and such third party cannot or does not make such valuation, the agreement is thereby avoided. Where such third party is prevented from making the valuation by the fault of the seller or buyer, the party not in fault may maintain a suit for damages against the party in default.